Welcome back. It is time for the Morning Mindset. I hope you are ready to live this day in the light of God's truth. That is what the Morning Mindset is here to help you do. I am Kerry Green. I am eager to help you think the way God thinks, to survey the world around you and the experiences that you have in light of what He says is true and what He says is going on around you. It's only in that way that we can even hope to live a life that brings glory and honor to Jesus Christ. We've been looking these past few days at some of the introductory paragraphs, introductory sections of a book that's meant a whole lot to me in my life. The book is called Humility, and the author is Andrew Murray. And in the last episode, I read this sentence. It says, "Humility, the place of entire dependence on God, is from the very nature of things, the first duty and the highest virtue of the creature, and the root of every virtue." Now, as the creature, he means us, mankind. Humility is our first duty and our highest virtue, and out of it flow all the rest of the virtues. And it's pretty natural that when we talk about humility, we think sometimes of the opposite, which would be pride. He does the same thing. He goes on with another very simple but challenging sentence. He says, "And so pride, or the loss of this humility, is the root of every sin and evil." That's a pretty strong statement. He says pride is at the root of every sin and every evil. Would you agree with that? I challenge you to think about the sins that are predominant in your life, the ones that you struggle with repeatedly. Or perhaps it's more helpful for you to think of the sins that have been done to you, the ones that really hurt, the ones that have caused the most damage in your life. And then try to step back from those things and look a little bit deeper into where they came from. What motivated that sin? What's the power source from which it flowed? And I think that what you will find is that what Andrew is saying here is very true. Pride is what fuels every sin and evil. If we were to go all the way back to the Garden of Eden, we would see that. It's the issue of pride that fuels Satan in the form of the serpent to tempt Adam and Eve to disobey God. It is pride on their parts, the desire to step outside of their submission to God and their role underneath Him as creatures, that motivated their sin. And on and on and on it goes throughout the biblical history and throughout our history as well. Pride is not only thinking too much of yourself. Pride is thinking that you are able to manage things on your own, apart from God. And that is why Andrew says humility is a place of entire dependence on God. Think about the extremity of that phrase. Entire dependence on God. Do we depend on Him for our every decision? Do we recognize that in every conversation and every choice that we make, we need His help because He's the creator and we are the creature? My brothers and sisters, I challenge you to think about this on a very deep level. Our lack of humility is exactly proportional to the degree of sin that we find ourselves falling into. You know, I've just thought of it that way right now on the spot, but let me say that again. Our lack of humility is exactly proportional to the degree of sin that we find ourselves falling into. Said kind of in reverse, the amount of sin we find ourselves falling into is probably related to the amount of humility we're lacking. My friends, as we submit ourselves as creatures to our good and loving Creator and follow His ways and allow Him to indwell us and to guide us, we will see sin falling away because we are beginning to live in the light of who He's made us to be and who He is eager to empower us to be. Thank you for joining me on The Morning Mindset. If you'd like to find out more, check out the description in your podcast player or app.